This is Stephen Green. You can check out my work at alabamarai.com, and you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Bada boom.
Must be that time.
It's a good sound. I needed that sound.
Me too.
When you hear that, you
Today
know
was
that.
a really good day, so I'm hoping we're ending this on a high note. So.
Oh, nice. Good talk about the comics coming, people. Slowly but surely. Yeah, we got to get over this little hump, but we'll get there. Yeah. Hot as a motherfucker today.
Was it?
Yeah, it was here. Yeah, it was
Okay.
warm as shit here. Yeah, and yay, the gnats and the mosquitoes are out. Oh boy,
bro! Oh my god! I went for like a 7-mile walk yesterday, and like the gnats were fucking killing me. Like
Yeah,
I was
bad.
like swallowing them. I was swallowing them. It's crazy.
Yeah, they go in your eyes, everything.
Ugh.
Yep,
brutal.
You don't have to swallow us because we're 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 9. I don't know what that meant. Episode 980. Look, and I'm Vince B.
Ooh, you are Vince B. I'm David A. Price.
This is true, and of course, I am Amadou Grootslang.
Wow. We don't even know him yet, and you took him as your avatar for this episode. We briefly met him.
Yes.
Impressive. True. Very impressive. But you're not onomatopoeia Grootslang. You're Jason Wood, everybody. Yes, the gang's all here. Brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com. Cheapgraphicnovels.com. Proof's in the pudding. It's all in the name. If you want to get your OGNs, your trade paperbacks, your manga, your artist editions, your omnibus editions, all that stuff for a fraction of the price. That summer or spring sale, spring or summer sale, whatever it is still going on. I got the Legion 5 years later omnibus number 2 for 55% off. What?
Oh shit.
Yes. Yep. And if that weren't enough, you can get free shipping on your second order. How do you do that? Well, you place an order. It has to be your first order. Come on. He's not just going to throw free shipping at everybody like candy. It has to be your first order. You will receive an email confirmation thanking you for placing an order. You are going to reply to that email confirmation saying, I would never, ever, ever have known about cheapgraphicnovels.com if not for my dudes, my buddies at 11 O'Clock Comics. And Max will... That's the sound of the magic wand of savings. It changed from a suppository to a magic wand. Let's clean it up a little bit. And you will get free shipping on your second order. And that's when you rent the U-Haul. Pick up the stuff at wherever you get it delivered and fill that thing up with books. But that's not everything. They have specials. What?
They do. And some of those specials include Goes Like This trade paperback. For almost 3 decades, master cartoonist Jordan Crane has put together a body of short stories that garnered him multiple Eisner and Ignatz Award nominations via the pages of his comic book series Uptight and the influential comics anthology Non. Featuring over a dozen short stories published over the past 25 years, Goes Like This is a gorgeously packaged anthology of Crane's work. Also featuring additional prints and drawings from the author's archives, Goes Like This is a tantalizing sampler of one of the most brilliant cartoonists working today. Something that I'll be getting very, very soon. Lost Marvels Volume 1, Tower of Shadows, hardcover, $26.24. In 1969, with its revolutionary superhero line well established, Marvel took a chance on the kind of supernatural EC-style anthology series that have been banned since the formation of the Comics Code in the 50s. Tower of Shadows features a staggering array of artists and writers, including Neil Adams, Jim Steranko, Barry Windsor Smith, John Buscema, Gene Colan, Wally Wood, Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, John Romita, Johnny Craig, Maurice Severin, Jerry Conway, and Bernie Wrightson, to name a few. Not only do these 9 issues feature Marvel's best creators working at their peak, but Tower of Shadows is one of the lost, never-collected Marvels. In the first of a new series, Fantagraphics and Marvel joined forces to introduce these pages to a new generation of readers and restore this series to its rightful place in comics history. Low Orbit trade paperback, $17.49. 15-year-old Azar feels stuck. Her mom's job forced him to move to Vermont, where Azar doesn't know anyone. Her only friends are the next-door neighbors, an aging sci-fi writer, and his non-binary teen, Tristan. Follow misfits in a small town and fellow misfits in the small town community. For a while, Azure can escape her troubles by disappearing into the pages of her kindly neighbor's epic novel, The Exiles of Overworld. But when her queerness throws her life out of balance, Azure realizes some secrets can't be escaped forever. And finally, Skin hardcover, $26.24. Skin is the striking debut graphic novel by writer, God help me, Mike Versip and illustrator Sebian Clement. In a seamless collaboration, poetic turns of phrase pair with impressionistic watercolors, creating a tangible intimacy between words and imagery. Keen observation and dynamic artistry combine to tell a tender story of the human condition, as playful and devastating as life itself. And goes like this is $29.99, in case I didn't mention it.
Nice. 2 fun facts.
Sure.
One is springboarding from the Jordan Crane special. To this day, I want to punch myself in the face because I sold my copy of Non-Number 5, the one that came in the box, which was autographed by Paul Pope, Jordan Crane, Megan Kelso, Matt Brinkman, a whole bunch of people. Every convention I went to, the early Mochas, other places, I brought this damn thing with me, and I had people that appeared within the pages sign it, and it was going for really good money at one point. So I sold it, and I'm an idiot. Yes, I am. Self-proclaimed, but it's true. And fun fact number 2, I have the Tower of Shadows. It's wonderful. The reproduction's very good. I may be asking for too much, but Tower of Shadows is a very good run. There's a lot of really good stories in it, but the one you want is Chamber of Darkness, which I think was 1 issue fewer. I think it was Chamber of Darkness was 8 issues. What's the big deal about Chamber of Darkness? Well, Chamber of Darkness number 4 features a story which was written and drawn in 1970, featuring a barbarian called Star the Slayer, illustrated by Barry Windsor Smith. For all intents and purposes, it's Conan. It's the story that he flexed those creative fantasy muscles before he was placed on the ongoing Conan book. I don't know why this book doesn't go for more than it does. I think mint condition you can pick it up for like $350, $400, but it's Barry Windsor Smith drawing Conan before Conan. I think it should be a lot more expensive. I think it should be one of those golden books where the only reason why I'm saying this is because back in the day, Mike Vraney bought every copy of Conan number 1 he could find, and I bought every copy of Chamber of Darkness number 4 I could find. So I'm sitting on about 8 of them. So I would love this book to like shoot up in value more than $350, more than $400. Like let's $1,500, $2,000. Let's go there. But anyway, yeah.
Who needs Bitcoin when you got back issues?
Yeah, Tower of Shadows is a great run. The Steranko work alone is just like phenomenal, man. It is just great.
It's nice that it's only, for now at least, it's a planned trilogy, so that's easy to digest. But it's inexpensive, dude. It's like less than $30.
Yeah.
So for a hardcover, so I'm just glad that it was that it timed it so that I could order I wanted the Shaken volume, and not realizing it was a second volume because I missed the announcement of this first one. But once I saw that it was on the new release is on from Maxer this week, I was like, well, that's a no-brainer.
The Shaken volume's in this previews.
Yes. Well, then April.
No, June.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
The previews that we didn't thought we were going to get. But whatever. So yes, cheapgraphicnovels.com. All this stuff. See, all of this discussion springs out of cheapgraphicnovels.com.
Life springs eternal.
It does. And we have to be very thankful for life, specifically the life of our patrons, because we have 2 new ones.
Ooh. Oh, word up! Yes,
2 new beautiful. One is returning to the fold, I believe.
Yes, correct.
We have Blake Isaac Gordon. Big love and hugs to Blake.
Shout out to Blake. Welcome aboard.
And our Canadian brother, Peter Fodor.
Yes.
And
That's
congratulations.
what I said. He's not new, but he's back. So
Right.
yes, welcome back.
Congratulations, Peter, for living in a country where they did the right thing.
Yeah.
Haha.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm drinking.
Carney FTW.
That's right.
Yep.
Good man. I'm drinking. And I thought,
Of course you are.
I thought, you know what? It's a every week is a nostalgic week, but this a little bit more so than others once they realize what we're going to be talking about. So I used to drink this beer copiously back in the day, while gorging myself on Red Alert chicken wings. Red Alert being the hottest sauce you can get at this place where we would frequent. The beer in question is Killian's Irish Red. I love this beer.
Wow.
I love it.
I
It's
haven't heard this beer in ages.
yeah, it's not heavy. It's, you know what I mean. It doesn't fill you up like an IPA, and it doesn't give you the toots and the bloats like a, you know. It's just a really good beer. It's a good drinking beer, and I love it. So I'm drinking George Killian's Irish Red.
Nice. Well, I am drinking water.
Yeah, my man. There we go.
Yeah, well,
At least you're here, though. Some concessions have to.
that's
be
right.
there.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. If it meant that you were here and drinking water, or if you weren't drinking water, you weren't here, then drink the damn water.
Yes.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
right. Took that a little too far.
I'm
That's okay.
Still enjoying the Bardstown wheated whiskey from that I started last week.
Nice.
Good old Bardstown. Dude, we got to start off with a little pour. We got to pour one out. We got to do a little rest in
Yes.
peace.
We do.
Yep.
Yes.
We got news just before we started recording. It was confirmed by his brother-in-law that unfortunately Jackson, a.k.a. Butch Guice, passed away at the way too young age of 63 years old today. So, I mean, it's never good to see a creator go. Someone that young, it's even worse. I think it's fair to say we've all been fans of the man's work. He's basically been making comics since I've been reading comics. I started off in the early '80s, and he's done he's touched many of our favorite characters, and he did Micronauts, obviously. He did X Factor. He actually co-created Apocalypse. Did the Flash, right? Iron Man, Superman, Doctor Strange,
X-Men Micronauts,
Yep.
Southern Knights.
I believe he created Resurrection Man, right? That's one of the other things he
Co-creator.
created.
Yeah.
Yeah, Birds of Prey did a long run with Butch, Chuck Dixon. Ruse, probably one of my favorite cross-gen books. Ruse. What else? Aquaman, right? Sort of Atlantis.
Whole bunch of stuff.
Worked on the Triangle era.
Yeah, did a bunch of Captain America with Brew Baker. He was one of they had a bunch of rotating artists, but he was one of them. So yeah, man, just great career. Never met the man, but from what I gather, was very well regarded by by his industry cohorts and peers as a good man. So yeah, pour one out, man. Yep. And we say this a lot, and usually it's times like this. It's con season coming up. We got a few we're going to still this year, and never miss the opportunity to shake a creator's hand that you enjoy, just to say that you enjoy it. Like I know sometimes people are like, I don't know what to say, or I don't want to bother them. You know, just a simple thank you. It could mean a lot, right? Just because you just never know. You just never know.
Very true. Yep. So we were afforded a full view of a book that will be coming out very shortly. One that I'm just speaking for myself, that the anticipation for this book was very high, with some reservations, because we have been given versions of this magazine that really didn't do it for me. And I was hoping that this was not one of the same because, we all say that art is very subjective, and it's so true that a lot of us have unnatural expectations for these kind of things, where it's just like, yeah, I remember this thing from back in the day and it lit my world on fire, and I hope this new thing, which has the same name as the old thing, will be just as good as the stuff that blew my world up back in the day. And that's not realistic. You can't expect that.
But Vince.
Yes.
There are, and it's not just, I mean, there's an emotional attachment to things. There are certain words, book titles. There are things that resonate, that evoke a response, that you expect a certain thing. So when I say the title of a magazine, you have certain expectations.
It has a pedigree. Yes.
Exactly. So
yes.
So it's very. You go in thinking, okay, if they're going to use this name, then I think that they're trying to be on par with what originally. So I'm behind you 100%. So yeah. I'm trepidatiously optimistic, but I was still concerned when they announced the title. So
right, and let's be honest, they announced the title prior to announcing this version of the title. Like this has been in the can for, I mean, not this issue, but there has been teasings of a first issue of this magazine for a very long time. And it didn't come to fruition. We ordered it through previews years ago, and they solicited maybe 5 issues, none of which came to be. And so then when they announced this, we're just like, okay, we'll play it by ear. We'll see what's up. And if it happens, it happens. And thankfully it happened. It did. It happened. It's edited by Frank Forte. And I know Frank. Frank is a very sharp writer, illustrator, editor, filmmaker. I know Frank from Asylum Press.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where that name rings a bell for me. And he's, like I said, he's an illustrator too. I've seen, he can work in a lot of styles. He likes to do this trapped in time, vintage, eerie cartoon thing like Al Columbia did with, Pim and Francie, but in a different vein. But of that aesthetic, that eerie, playful, disturbing type cartoon drawing. I like the guy, I like his work, but he's the editor-in-chief of this thing. It is heavy metal, number 1. If you care. The legacy number is 321. This thing is 240 pages. Jeez. I don't think that will remain a constant. I think they loaded up this first issue because I believe the second one is solicited in this month's previews, and it's about 200 pages and some.
Okay.
It's not 240, but that's okay, right? Even 200 pages for $15 pre-discount, that's a good deal, right? So I have to be very honest. The first 4 years of the original Heavy Metal is pitch perfect. It's I don't think that's an exaggeration. It's pitch perfect. When you look at the roll call of the first 4 years, Mobius, Bilal, Corbin, Sigrel, like it's nuts. Yeah. It's absolutely nuts.
The all-time greats, the European greats.
We will never ever see a first 4 years of Heavy Metal, the original Heavy Metal, ever again. But when editor Julie Simmons Lynch came on in 1981, I thought she did a really good job. Like, there's an 11-year stretch right before Eastman came on. Like, Heavy Metal was really good and took chances and had strips in there that were atypical. Like, not it wasn't all, the kind of strips that were seen in the first 4 years. It was different. It branched out, and there was a lot of hits and there were some misses, but it was all very interesting. And like Dap said, it all established a pedigree, that mythology, that Heavy Metal mythology. And then Kevin came on, He bought the magazine, came on as editor-in-chief in 1993, and he lasted till 2016. And I love the Kevin Eastman run. Because what Kevin did was, he's like, okay, you like complete stories? Well, you're going to get a complete graphic novel in almost every issue. And I'm like, this is untenable. There's no way that he can maintain this. But I don't know how he did it. I mean, a lot of times you could buy an issue of Heavy Metal and there'd be a complete 100-page graphic novel in there. And I was like, shit, this is for less than $10. It was awesome. And so I have very, very fond memories of the Kevin Eastman run. I have them all. I love them all. And then that's when we started to get into trouble, when Grant Morrison came on. I think that run does not do justice to the Heavy Metal pedigree. And I'll be honest, I love the guy. Seeley and company did not do justice to the Morrison pedigree. So, yeah, it's diminishing returns from Heavy Metal. So then when this issue was solicited, I was like, oh, okay, let's see what we're doing here. And like I said, we were afforded not just a glimpse, we got the whole issue to read. And I'm extremely pleased with this issue.
Yeah, shout out to
that's an interesting. Oh, I was just gonna say that's an interesting way to like. It almost sounded like you were tongue in cheek saying it.
No, I'm extremely pleased because I think they covered all the bases because it is it's an even mix of vintage stuff,
the strips,
some new stuff. Right. And then you get text pieces that inform, the reader of the history of heavy metal, high points within the run. Like there's a page where it's like, hey, that guy, Richard Corbin, big titties and ding dongs. He was a seminal part of heavy metal for you. And they did justice to the people that made the magazine what it was. Like there's a piece on Greg Hildebrandt. Which that just warmed my heart because Greg passed not too long ago. But I thought it's as, I don't want to say this, but I don't think it's as good as it could be because then I don't know how good it could have been, right? But this 240-page issue, it kind of made my heart sing a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, I like the alien disclosure thing where they got a bunch of artists to illustrate what would possibly involve an alien disclosure on Earth. And there's a ton of really great, Ladron's one of them. But the thing that really made me happy was they started the issue off with Enki Bilal's Bug.
Yes.
Which is like as far as the story goes, it's like my utopia. What would happen if all data disappeared? The web down, all hard drives wiped, all kind of P2P communication. There's no Skype, there's no podcast, there's no web, and people are freaking out. And that just sounds like a beautiful way to live to me. But it is okay. It is science fiction at this point. Like there's no AI, and it's beautifully illustrated by Enki Bilal. Like what do you want to start off an issue? It's great. The president's an asshat, complete tool, right? You have one survivor on a space station, who has a mark on his neck. I've read the story before and I don't want to get into it because it is serialized. You will see another chapter of this in issue 2, which is great. Invest yourself in this because if you haven't read Enki Bilal, wow, you holy crap, you're in for something, right? You guys like the Bilal strip?
I really did. I mean,
it's good. It's good little work.
That kind of just took me back home. Later on we get freaking Bert and Sib, which that evokes the magazine to me.
Yeah.
We got the metal strips towards the end, which again, the bus stop, like, man, I almost tears of joy. I've missed this magazine and the fact that you have folks who seem to care about it, understand why so many people loved it. I think it's in good hands, and an absolute shout out to Chris Thompson, who we've known for a while now. He was with Titan Comics, he was with Eagle Moss, and it's nice that he's working. He's an editor on this magazine, which, based on the exchanges I've had with him, he's extremely happy with the work being done, and is really looking forward to continuing with it. So I'm stoked for it. This is way, way, way better than I had expected.
Yeah, and they're let's give them their props. They're very smart, because there are fans of the magazine, and then there are fans of the film, right? And there's a strip in here called Cold Dead War, The Aftermath, which is written and illustrated by Craig Wilson, right? Which is a combination of Corbin's Den. The Lochnar is a character in this strip, and there's also a tip of the hat to Bernie Wrightson's B-17 sequence from the movie, which is nuts. But that's not where the movie tie-ins end. Like, there's a strip in here where a character rides a sports car through space. That's right from the movie.
True.
Yeah. So they're saying, oh, you enjoyed that movie, but you've never read the magazine? Well, this is what you can kind of expect. Like, we love the movie, but we also love the original magazine, and you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff that ties into both. The Mercenary, shut up. There's not a whole lot of heavy lifting with Segrel, but it's beautiful. It's wonderful to look at. I mean, they're simple stories, but titties, beautifully painted. Dragons like that. Back in the day, I would hunt down the individual volumes of the Mercenary just because I knew it was going to be a thing of beauty to look at, and there'd be titties in it, and dragons and fantasy based creatures. Like, I'm easy to please when it's that beautifully illustrated. There's a John Workman single page. John loves.
Yeah, that was super fun seeing John do the naughty. That's fun.
Yeah, he loves the ladies. Steve Mannion shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Full frontal, I think. No,
evil
almost
sex bitch.
Almost full frontal.
Evil sex bitch.
I got to be entirely truthful. The Tarna stuff doesn't really do it for me.
Agreed.
I mean, the first strip is okay. Let's see who did this. The first strip by
Lee Moore, John Reppian wrote it, and Anna Morozova drew it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad by any stretch, but it reminds me of the stuff during the Seeley era. It's okay. Like I said, it's not really bad. But Joseph Michael Linsner does a Tarna story, and it's like, all right. Yeah, hold my beer. Drop the mic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's very simple, but it's cute. And you read a Tarna story for one or two things, one of which is good girl art. And if you have Joseph Michael Linsner drawing Tarna, you've won the audience, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but the strip that really spun my head around was the Sixella, The Last Roots by Yanevsky. Like, where did this come from? It's gorgeous, and it looks like it was Rizzo printed. Like, it was printed on a risograph. Like, this strip is insane, and it's continued into the next issue. But if that wasn't enough, Jim Rugg shows up.
That he does.
Doing the Kecksburg UFO. Like, if I could have called Jim and it's like, hey, that true crime stuff you're working on, do the Kecksburg UFO. Like, I would have suggested this because it's a perfect subject for Jim. And it happened in Pennsylvania. Like, this is in my backyard. I wasn't born when this happened. I think it happened in 65, right? Yeah. But there's the legend of the Kecksburg UFO, which they passed off as a lantern, which it was not a fucking lantern. But but Rugg does a really he changes he embellishes the details a little bit. But so what? It's a story about a UFO. You embellish away. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a wonderful addition to this. Reminded me of the Eastman era. But I'm looking through the thing now. It's like Quinn and Vigil? What?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a magical little story, but the strengths are the visuals, of course, right? When you Tim Vigil, all right. Then plus you have an homage to Guido Crepex with this Valentina story.
Valentina, yeah.
Yeah,
beautiful. Sergio Geraci looked great, just absolutely stunning.
And it's
probably for me the best looking thing in the book for me, but you know that's
it's great. Yeah, it's great. And it's not too explicit. Like I love the sizzle and not the steak, and I think this did a great job of just showing you just enough. Like it kept you going. Jock appears. Who's I think a mainstay of 2000 AD, J.O.K.
Different than the Jock.
Yeah, not our Jock, but giant mechs fighting like
fun cartoony style. Kind of like looks like it could fit into the Mignola verse. Like he could do like definitely. Yeah.
Plus you get a cover gallery in the back. It did my heart good. That there's a Frazetta cover. I'm sure this issue will be sold at the museum because if you've ever visited the Frazetta Museum, you're inundated with issues of Shudder and Vampirus Carmilla because they are not one to ever shirk a tie-in to sell something at the museum. But there's a Skinner cover. I didn't get the Skinner cover. I thought it was apt to get the Hildebrandt cover because it has all of the chestnuts from the movie. And I'm like, okay, I don't really love the movie. I appreciate the movie for what it is and when it occurred. But, obviously I like the magazine more, but so I went with the Hildebrandt cover, but there's a lot of covers. Whoa, there's 4, 8, 12, 16. There's 16 different covers. That's crazy. I really hope this does well because I don't think I don't think a month should go by or two where there's not an issue of heavy metal on the stands.
Mm-hmm.
These kids need to see
exponentially better. I was just going to say this is an exponentially better rebranding relaunch than the Penthouse relaunch, which was just
for real
an abomination. Yeah.
But then again, and I love the fact that they in one of the text pieces they go into the fact that Marvel tried to kick heavy metal to the curb with their Epic Illustrated, and Marvel could not maintain the cost of a monthly full color, whatever Epic Illustrated was. I think it was at least 68 pages, probably more. It was just too expensive for Marvel. And Epic Illustrated had its moments. It was not a contender to take down heavy metal. Like, let's be real. I don't think there's ever been a contender to take down heavy metal.
No.
Penthouse tried,
agreed.
but it was okay. But it wasn't. Yeah, heavy metal is the gold standard, and this does a lot to reinforce that. Like, I'm so happy with this. I'm stupid happy.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's coming across.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think it's like it was very much like I think of a good anthology generally, which is to say that like I don't want to profess that I loved every single thing in the book. Like there was definitely a scale for me of things that I really vibed with and stuff that I thought I could take or leave. But I mean that's just the way anthologies work, and generally that's a successful, positive anthology experience for me. Like I think no one should ever go into reading an anthology and expecting it to be like 100% your vibe. But I will say that to your point, and you've conveyed this throughout your discussion so far, and I agree, the quality of this is unimpeachable.
Yes,
like
exactly.
in from the cover to the design to the way they pace it, mixing and matching both old and new, along with different styles, with humor versus adventure versus, like, I just felt like it was very thoughtful, everything about it, like how the stories were sequenced, where the interstitials existed, where the prose pieces existed. It just all felt intentional, and I definitely appreciated that. And I will say that while, I mean, admittedly, some of the stories it definitely ran the gamut for me. There were some stories I just didn't really connect with per se, but I will say that pretty much to a piece, the art I thought was terrific. Good to amazing. Like I just don't think there was a poorly rendered image in this book. With one or two like minor one-pager exceptions, but I'm not going to throw shade. But like overall, I really thought the art was just really at a super high level. And to your point, I did wonder reading it like are they going to be able to sustain this? Because as you mentioned, I mean, they solicited this issue a year ago at San Diego, and as you noted, the heavy metal has been through the ringer in the last 10 to 15 years in terms of ownership and bankruptcy and infighting. And so I, again, like you, I hope that what we get in this issue is truly indicative of what we're going to get for a big chunk of time, and they sustain the quality. I guess we'll know that soon enough when we all get our hands on issue 2. But yeah, hell of a first issue. Right. And I know probably a lot of listeners that are younger than us, maybe just it doesn't mean anything to them. Like the name heavy metal just doesn't mean all that much. And so they may not view this as a priority, and I guess if we do have an ability to convey people to open up their wallets more than they otherwise would, I think this is definitely something, even if you're not at all familiar with heavy metal, other than that you heard old heads like us talk about it back in the day, like give it a try. I think it's fair to say that if you try this first issue and it's not for you, then heavy metal and this kind of anthologies isn't for you, because this is a very, very well done example of this kind of comic art form. So Right.
I think one of the shortcomings of the Seeley and Company, I don't think Seeley was he was one of 3, I think, editors or editors in chief on there. One of the shortcomings of that run was I think they tried to pack the magazine with new stuff. And as this shows you, I think this is a very measured, realistic approach. There's no way that they could produce a 200-page anthology, even every other month. It's not economically feasible. So let's get those older stories and reprint them in serialized, right? I'm sure that there's money going to the original creators, hopefully, but it just makes sense to take a very, again, that's the word, measured, realistic approach where you have a nice, beautiful package of reprints and a nice assemblage of new things. I'm guessing that contemporary readers haven't seen either, right? Because I'm hoping that a good number of people pick up heavy metal who've never read the magazine before and just like, holy crap, look at this. It's astounding. Like one of the things that I used to say during the Morrison run, and I really said it after the Morrison run, was how the fuck did they get into heavy metal? Like I'm looking at the art and I'm just like, you're not ready for prime time and you are in heavy metal, like something's wrong. Whatever, say what you will about the original magazine, all the way through the Eastman era, there were very, very, very few moments where one would look at the art and be like, did you sneak in through the back door? Like there was always a standard that was maintained, right? This continues that really high standard. You may not, like Jason said, you may not click with a lot of the narrative content of the strips, but visually, I mean, 98% of this issue is just like extremely well done. And that's a very high number for an anthology. 98%. Like that's crazy high. And so I think this is a total success.
When the reason I started buying heavy metal way back when was not just for TNA, but because it was really the only chance I had to read anything from any European creators, and as originally intended, serialized in this magazine, and it so it opened up my eyes to a whole bunch of other things. I love the science fiction aspect of the magazine, of course, but the anthology was everything, and I have massive gaps between issues here and there. So I mean, there are a few serials that I haven't read in their entirety, but just being able to get my hands on an issue at any time was just it. It was obviously so different than anything the big two were doing in the 80s and 90s, and now, you know, I'm happy it's back, but I'm just it just reminds me of why I enjoyed the magazine in the first place, and it just wasn't a bunch of pretty pictures and a bunch of artists that can draw really well. There was a whole lot going on between the covers that just kept me coming back every chance I get. I really am glad it's back, or well, at least it appears to be back, and I hope it continues with this level and just swings for the fences.
Yeah, I'll buy multiple covers just to support it. I don't care. Note to the editor, Frank, if you're listening, get Matthew Allison on this, because this first issue could have been even better if you had a Matthew Allison story in it. So I'm just saying. So there you go. Let me spell for you. Allison. Matthew Allison. All right, nice. Heavy Metal #1. Go out and get it. It's well worth your money. Yep.
Concur.
Yeah. So, Jason, you know, you were a character from the Lost Fantasy issue #1 coming into the.
I was?
Yeah. Why don't you speak on it?
Wait, I was. What do you mean I was a character?
You were one of the characters from Lost Fantasy #1 for your intro.
Oh, in my intro. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you meant there was like an analog of me in the story itself. I was like, oh shit.
Narcissistic much?
What are you talking about? No, I thought you were like trying to poke fun at me. Like I was like,
no, you said you were.
Yes.
Yeah. So speak on it, will you?
Yes. Right. So thank you. Lost Fantasy #1, new #1 issue of a new series. It's giant sized first issue. It actually says giant sized Lost Fantasy on the cover. Written by Kurt Pyers. Used to be Curtis. Now he's Kurt. I don't know when he changed it, but
it's okay.
With art by Luca Casalanguida.
Love it. I love that name.
Yeah, no doubt. And Mark Dale and Micah Myers round out the creative team. So this is interesting. So I mean, let's be honest. It is not a big ask for us to try out an Image book because, as we have said many times, we're very fortunate and grateful that Image provides us with their comics to preview. So it's not like it's taking a big risk to try out something new, right? From Image. So I do it a lot. But in this case, this was one I was definitely like looking forward to, even though I wasn't particularly familiar with the creative team. I mean, I've read some Kurt Pyers stuff, but I definitely haven't read like his best known stuff. But I might change that after this. But I remember when it was solicited, in the solicit, I don't know if he wrote it or whoever wrote it, but made a mention to the fact that it was like a modern day comic interpretation of a JRPG. For those that don't know what that means, JRPG is Japanese role-playing game. It's a style of video game which is historically my favorite, and most notably, I think the tentpole JRPG, at least in terms of like global reach, is Final Fantasy. You know, Final Fantasy is sort of the ultimate JRPG, and it's my favorite video game series at the time. So I thought, okay, bet, like a fantasy comic, looked like a cool art. Like I wasn't familiar with Castellanguida before this, but we saw some preview pages that looked good. I thought, why not? Let's do this. And that's exactly what we get. And I mean, I loved it. I really did. Now, you guys know I'm not as like, fantasy comics are a bit more of a, not a tough sell, but there have been fantasy comics that many of you have loved that I don't quite connect with. So I wasn't sure for, once we got this, if I was going to like just be kind of like, sometimes I can't really put my finger on why some high fantasy stories don't connect with me, but sometimes they don't. But that was not the case here. And I think after reading it, I understand why, because I found an interview with him, and he really set out to make a high fantasy book that wasn't completely inaccessible. Like, he actually said that in the interview that I was reading, he said that too often like fantasy doesn't work for him because it's super esoteric, right? And he likes nerdy stuff, but it's like he can't stand when it's like, well, I'm the fucking high elf of whatever, I zone out, yada. That was his quote, not mine. And I'm kind of with him there sometimes. So this was not that. But the premise is that there is Earth, and then there's another dimension, which is a magical dimension, right, full of all kinds of magical beings and whatnot. And sometimes there are rifts between the two, and those rifts are ever increasing. And as a result of these rifts, some heroes come to bear, and they basically fight off the magical interlopers. And over the course of, it's a little bit of a revisionist history here. He kind of like recreates U.S. history, where essentially these heroes become part of the fabric of our society. They're actually like, when World War I ends, they actually, there's a secret part of the treaties that establish funding and support for these heroes and their families, and they start five schools, one, couple, it's like spread across the world, one in Japan, one in Africa, etc. And the idea is that they will train soldiers in their ways to help them continue to protect our earthly plane from the interlopers of this more dangerous magical plane. And that's pretty much the setup. And then we're brought into this notion of this white-haired modern day hero, who's, we come to find out, is Henry Blackheart, and that's significant because he is the heir to the Blackheart family, which are his I guess it would be his grandfather. I don't know if it's father's grandfather, but was the main leader of all of these defenders in the first place. So he's basically the heir to the throne of like the top house of the protectors. But when we first discover him, he is passed out on a couch in a drug den, having gone through a night of heavy partying or days of heavy partying, and they call him to investigate an attack, and he shows up to investigate. And I mean, let's be honest, I think it's very much on the nose. He's Cloud Strife. I mean, visually he's Cloud. Yeah. I mean, by design, even in as much as at one point he's under attack, he pulls off it opens up like a magical inventory of different weapons, and he selects which essentially the Cloudbuster sword, right? A giant oversized sword.
Yeah, geeking
now
out.
again, like for some people, maybe that's a turnoff. For me, I was marking out because I love Final Fantasy. I love Cloud, so I'm like, okay, cool. This is modern day Cloud on Earth. I'm here for that. Like, more of that, please. And he has to fight a bunch of cool ass creatures. There's like a golem, this dragon creature and stuff, and he has to fight them. And then like shit doesn't go as planned. I definitely didn't expect it to. I don't want to give away the ending, but I did not expect the book to end the way it ended.
Yeah, a little crazy.
And whether that's sort of permanent and it's like a Sean Bean in Game of Thrones situation or not, I guess we'll know soon enough. But I pretty much loved everything about this, man. The art is a lot of fun. I'm guessing, if I know you guys well enough, I know for sure you liked it, Vince, because it's definitely not like super tight line. Like he's definitely loose with the line work. He just lets it go, and I think it works. Visually for me, like it felt a lot like damn, I always forget his name. Dap. What's homeboy that lives in Hoboken that did that book with Kirkman? He's doing the seasons now.
As a setup.
It reminded me as a setup, a little looser though, but like in that family, and I really love that style. So the art really worked for me on all levels. The setup worked for me. I love the cliffhanger at the end of the first issue, and like I said, then after I read it, I went and found an interview with him, and I got even more hyped because he just said that he said that first of all he acknowledged that he grew up loving Final Fantasy VII and Harry Potter, and that he intentionally drew concepts from that for this, but he said that he mentioned Nick Dragata and that he's always drawn really cool comic shit, and then he wants to make sure that ultimately the story is fun because he said that there's a tendency to forget that like comics are supposed to be fun, and he didn't say ridiculous, but I was thinking of Vince's comics should be ridiculous, and that's his pledge here, is that he wants this to just be like there are some higher concepts in it as it goes, but he wants it to every issue just feel like fun, off the charts, just adventure and wild stuff happening both visually and story wise, so that you feel totally satisfied with every issue. And we are now like approaching 20 years into the wait for the trade era, right? Or people write to a trade or write to 5 or 6 issues. And while I've gotten very comfortable with that pacing, and I think we've all adjusted to reading most of our comics that way, it is really refreshing when you hear a creator say, I'm going to do it differently. And again, no shade to people that write for 5 or 6 issue arcs. I think that's just the way the business works now from a commercial perspective. But to hear him basically say, like, I want every issue to stand alone and knock your socks off. It's a bold claim. It's obviously a high bar to set for himself, but I love that he and his team are challenging themselves to do that. And, so I hope it comes days. I thought it was fantastic. And I just, a lot of the things that I could sense he is nostalgic for are things that I love too, and that goes a long way when you're trying to read a story like this. So
I have to admit, I'm kind of gobsmacked that you enjoyed this. Not
really,
yeah, because you're real tough on the fantasy books.
Yeah, I am.
You are,
sure.
and
because
because
at the beginning,
we dropped Last God, and Dap and I were just like putting down the plastic sheeting because we didn't want to get the floor all wet, and you're just like, meh. And I was like, wait a minute.
Last God is like the pinnacle example of what I was saying, where there's stuff where you guys, it wasn't just you guys, right? Like pretty much all our ERC crew, Newbert, like everybody that loves fantasy thought it was just like a great, like one of the greatest modern fantasy comics. And I'm not, obviously the majority rules there. But yeah, for me, I felt it was, didn't connect with it. And but then think about it, but like Seven to Eternity is high fantasy, and I love that. Like it's for me, it's more of it's a coin toss. It's not like I don't like
that's your
fantasy,
dude, though. Well, so how about Birthright? You've never spoken on Birthright. I don't even think you've read it because it's fantasy.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, right. It's like dirt under the fingernails, gritty fantasy. But as I have to be again the Cloud analog. Like I knew that was going to be a tick in the plus column for you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because if you're dropping Final Fantasy VII. It's pretty much one of the greatest video games of all time. A lot of people have very fond memories of that, and I think to set your main character, at least for now, in the mold of Cloud, that it's just like, I'm glad I ordered this in single issues. I don't usually. But there was something about this one that I said, okay, I'm going to try this in single issues, like sight unseen. There was maybe a preview page or two in the previews, and I was like, all right, this looks really good. I'm going to buy it. But it looks like I think the contemporary setting mixed with fantasy elements may be tipping it into the love column for you. Like if this was villages and babies, swimming in mud puddles with goats. And you know what I mean? Like the traditional down on their luck fantasy setting with like, oh, you got to kill the dragon, or you wouldn't have loved it as much. Cause that's a very, very hard sell for you. And I don't know why babies are in mud puddles with, you know what I mean? Like, but I was stoked. I read it and read it again, and I'm thinking, very smart premise in that the houses could give them grist for the mill for a long, long time. We could have an entire arc on one house and then continue the narrative and then have an entire short arc on another house just to get like the fleshing out the major players. I think that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. This could go on for preacher length, even more.
Yeah, and he talked in this, and I should shout out the interviews from AIPT. That's where I found it because I keep referencing this nebulous interview. People are like, "What interview?" But he said in it too that like and again, I haven't read much of his other work, so I don't know. I'll leave that to others to say whether they agree with it or not. But he said he's always wanting to sort of have consequences. So like he was saying that with Lost Fantasy, he wanted to make the action brutal and violent, and that anything that can happen to people, will happen. Like it's going to have consequences.
Right.
And he mentioned that he always hates, one of the things he dislikes about superhero comics is that inevitably the fights never have stakes, right? And we've talked about that a lot. Like most of the time they don't have stakes. And he said it's the same with the movies, right? Like so many times you're watching an action movie and it's two characters fighting and it's like he glazes over because there's no consequences, right? Like things are getting destroyed around them, but like there's never any, you never see the aftermath, and it would be devastating. And so he wants that to be a part of it too. And so I just like where the dude's coming from with this. I like his mindset going into this is not say I ever plan on writing comics, but I thought this is the way he's describing what he's trying to do here is the way I would want to build a fantasy story myself, So I'm okay, I'm with it. And again, as I mentioned at the start of this, if this is the kind of thing that Pyers does, then I got to check out more of his stuff, because I'm pretty naked when it comes to knowing his prior work. I'm familiar with the name, but I can't think of a book that he's done that I'm that I can think for sure that I read, unless I didn't realize he wrote it.
I did enjoy. I picked up the first trade of Indigo Children last year at Heroes and read it a few.
Oh,
months
right,
ago.
okay.
And obviously,
yeah.
there's a preview for the sequel.
Yeah.
At the end of this.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I think if I did a check, I'd probably be surprised at the number of Pyers works that I've read. And he seems to use artists with similar aesthetics. Because Indigo Children does look a little bit like Lost Fantasy. But yeah, I've liked what I've read by there was another, it may have been from Dark Horse, but yeah, this was a couple of years ago. Yeah, I like Pyers a lot. This I really did like the first issue of Lost Fantasy. I like the colors. It looks great, and I dig the premise. It kind of, there are little things here and there, like with the houses, and I mean the houses isn't a unique concept or anything. There are certain things that kind of reminded me, and it's not a slight, it's not a knock on this, but it reminds me a little bit of Something is Killing the Children, because there's a dude who comes to town and he's going to investigate something, and the not necessarily totems or familiars or anything like that, but he's got friends, and yeah,
it's almost like Pokemon. He's got Tamagotchi. He's got monsters that he keeps.
Yeah,
that he keeps captive, and he
but
unleashes them. Yeah,
I mean, it's all about the execution. It doesn't matter what similar excuse me, what similarities there might be with other works. How they end up pulling it off is what's important.
Yeah, for sure. Because like you said, I mean, he clearly, I mean, he said that he was, like many people his age, was just totally enraptured by Harry Potter as a kid, which makes sense. But so I know that's where people draw that comparison to the houses from that. But yes, I mean, God, I mean, this idea of these sort of tribes of people have been around for since the dawn of storytelling, right? I mean, it's just I mean, like you said, these aren't new concepts these days. But what is new? Well, how many new concepts are there really? Right? It's all about execution, right? And I thought he was just really executed well, both visually and much like I thought it was just well paced. I thought it was oversized, but it felt to me it was like a quick read. I really thought just a lot happens, and yeah, kudos to them. Hopefully this is the quality that they can sustain.
I think it's about wrinkles. Because yes, there is nothing new under the sun, but you can add a wrinkle to an existing trope or premise and create something new. So yes, I think this is one of those. But nice. Atypical coloring, I like the graphic design very much. I do believe that each issue will be larger because just based on what I've paid, I think each issue is $4.99. So I think they may continue the extra sized throughout the run. We'll see. But yeah, and you're entirely right. I do love Casa Languida long time. I think the mark making is exceptional, And I just totally enamored with everything from this first issue. Mm-hmm. So yes, and I kind of initially I hated when they do a double page spread with just the title of the book, but I kind of like it now because it's like bum bum bum, you know what I mean? Like giant typography, creative team. This is who's bringing you this story. Bam! And if it's in an exercise issue, you're really not sacrificing anything. Right?
Yeah,
if it was a 22-page issue and there was two pages, then okay, yeah, maybe you'd be like, all right, you guys are taking a little breather. But in an issue of this size with a double-page credits, I think it's fine. And I'm
neither here nor there, by the way. But you just made me think of the new Invincible cartoon. Holden and I just love that every episode they do that big splash of Invincible the first time his name comes up. Like it's just a little fun conceit they always do, and it's just fun. I don't know. It's very similar to what you were just referring to with this double page.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Page,
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. I'm glad you guys liked it. I kind of went into it thinking like, well, they haven't said anything, but I see they read it. But then I thought, but like they're easier marks for fantasy than I am. So I'm like, it would be ironic if I liked this and they didn't. But
it would be ironic.
So I'm glad everyone liked it.
In another 6 months, Jason's like, I got this fantasy book. Y'all like fantasy, right? Well, it just so happens I have another fantasy book.
Well, it's on brand, yes.
Yeah, it is. It's very much on brand. It is another miniseries featuring our good buddy Geralt, a.k.a. The Witcher.
Oh, yes.
Yes. This is called The
Drawn
Witcher.
by our boy Stephen.
Right, exactly. This is called The Bear and the Butterfly, written by Simon Spurrier. Bring out the big guns for The Witcher. Illustrated by the great Stephen Green, with color art by the incomparable Jose Villarrubia, who's also doing stuff for the Corbin giant books that they're reworking, and so Villarrubia is a good guy. It's not a hard sell to get me to read a Witcher book, especially when it looks as good as this. Here's the premise. I didn't see if all of you read it. I know Jason read this.
Yes.
Yeah, Dap, you didn't read The Witcher?
Not this volume yet. No.
All right. Geralt is alone, so going solo in this, at least for now. He's traveling to Dal Gwyn. I hope I got that pronunciation right. This is a village that is plagued with beasties. They're all over the place. In addition to a hungry wolf pack laying waste to the Graf's goats, it appears that there's a vampire that has taken to feasting on at least one member of the dwindling population every night. So they lose a person every single night. Obviously, bounties on both are very high, which prompts the poor farmers to reach for the brass ring, right? But it never ends well for them. In the beginning of this issue, this poor fucking farmer goes out and he tries to collect on the bounty, but he gets attacked by a cockatrice. Like, what a nebbish you are that you would get attacked by a cockatrice, and Geralt saves him, and that's when he learns of the village's problems. But the stinger of the issue comes in the form of a beautiful incarcerated thief named Tila, a woman who has first-hand knowledge of the vampire. What? Yep. Geralt, he bribes a guard for 10 minutes of time, and he starts grilling her. She tells him that this vampire is kind of strange. I saw it, and it looks to be maimed, but it's very polite. And it was surrounded by black butterflies. But the vampire didn't attack her once it learned of her presence. And it warned her to stay away. And Geralt's like, oh boy, this is not a good thing. Because what we have here is an intelligent vampire that can control its bloodlust. It can also withstand the light of the setting sun and not cast a shadow. This is not a run-of-the-mill vampire. It's a superiore. It's a rare, higher vampire. And it's extremely difficult to kill. Not good. Other developments in the issue include Geralt saving a crippled boy from a wolf pack. He kills the fucking alpha wolf. It's a mutated thing, and he's like, throw me my sword. And the kid's like, he's like, throw me a weapon. And the kid throws his crutch. he kills the wolf. This giant freaking tusk beast. He kills him with a crutch. But there's another Witcher in the mix. We don't really get too much info on this character other than he has a bear totem. Hence the title of the miniseries. A big dude. He's got the bear totem, on his belt. He's got the around his neck, and he looks like he's gonna be trouble for Geralt. But yeah, I just loved every single page of this thing. I think Stephen Green is in very, very fine form. The lines are expressionistic mark making. It's not a by the numbers licensed book, but I could say that about all of the Witcher comics to date. Like, they've all been very, very good. And they pan, they cross the spectrum. Some are very realistic. Some of them are very expressionistic like this. I think the drawing in this is just exceptional. Scene, setting, bric-a-brac of this Gaul or Dahlgwyn village. It's all rendered really, really well, which is like a lot of the heavy lifting. Geralt is very handsome, as he should be. And I loved it. I mean, what more do you need to, there's nothing really deep going on here yet. It's all introductory stuff, but yikes. It was a wonderful read. Just calmed me right down. Ushered me into the world of The Witcher again. I don't know when we're going to get more of the Netflix show, but get fucking moving on that. And it was great. The Witcher, The Bear and the Butterfly. Of course it's published by Dark Horse. Who else would publish it? Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. Because, first of all, the names escape me, but the last Witcher series that you turned us on to, Corsico? What was it? I forget
I forget the name of the last one. I have it here, but it will take me some time
something
to
Bianco? Corso Bianco?
Corso Bianco, yes. But Yennefer was in that one, so he had the sexy time.
Yeah, so, but you said that was good, so then I read that, and you were right. And so then, this time I'm like, oh, so you had me sort of like quasi paying attention to The Witcher. And then when I saw our boy Stephen Green was drawing this, because I haven't seen him do a book in a minute, I thought, oh, I'm on this for sure because I love his work and I want to support him. And it's Witcher, so I know I'm not going to I'm down for the world setting. But then I had no idea until we got into it that we're dealing with not just vampires, which is my. I mean, if there's anything I like more than Cloud Strife, it's vampires. And then we got a superiore. We got a vampire that's leveled up. Oh, hell yeah, I'm here for it.
There's going to be a turn. I don't think the superiore is the one that's killing the villagers, because if he could resist killing Tila, I think there's something else going on here. But remains to be seen. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Wherever it goes. And I have the Witcher, I don't even know what they call them, like the library editions, and I just love what Dark Horse has been doing with The Witcher. And it's odd because I've never read the novels. My only prior knowledge of Geralt and company is from the TV show, the Netflix show.
Oh, you didn't play the video game?
No.
Ooh, it's really good. It's really good.
So I've heard, but there's only so many times. There's only so many hours in the day, right? Mm-hmm. But I really adore the Netflix show, and that's why I started. That's what prompted me to try the Dark Horse comics, and they're all very, very, very good. So if you see any, maybe cheapgraphicnovels.com. I know that they have the Witcher compilations. Go buy some and see just how good they are. And this is very good too. Wait till this is collected. If if you're not a single issue reader, get it from cheapgraphicnovels.com. If you're in the comic shop, buy The Bear and the Butterfly #1. You'll enjoy it very much.
Jack and I are going to give Steven a big hug in Charlotte.
Nice. Maybe. Yeah. There you go. Cox.
Jesus Christ.
I'll have a baby in my hand, so I'll be like, Win.
I was going to say you're still invited, my friend. There's still room for you in the.
Unless if I get a Witcher bust from Stephen Green, that'd be good.
Bro, I can arrange that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Right?
So you're saying if I ever get Steven to draw you a Witcher bust, you're coming to Heroes?
No, I would make Missing Heroes worth it.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll see if I love you that much.
Well, I mean, if the baby comes early, then maybe I'll be
You just
there.
don't like art. Oh wait, enough for me to do that for you.
Okay.
I just don't like. If I were going to give you something, I don't think giving you OA would be the thing to give you. I don't think that would be.
I think you're right, but I mean, a Stephen Green Witcher, that'd be okay. That'd be all right.
Oh, okay.
Just saying.
Unfortunately for you, he's rep by Felix, so it's.
Yeah, you're not getting that cheap. Get it?
Nah.
It's okay. Just give him a hug for me. Say, good job.
That's what I'm going to do.
And get a bumper. Yeah. Get a bumper. I expect you guys
we don't have one from Steven?
No.
That's shocking to me.
I'm pretty sure we don't. I can't search now because I'm recording. Unlike people who
for sure.
transfer terabytes of data while they're recording, I'm not.
We're going to get bumpers for days because
I hope.
Because I mean, Dap's got to stay busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Isn't good Witcher shit. Very good.
Yes. You know they're switching The Witcher, right?
I know Henry's not going to be in the new season. I know.
It's it's Miley Cyrus's ex.
I don't know who that is.
Is it one of
the Liam Hemsworth.
Liam.
The younger Hemsworth.
Okay. Yeah, I'll miss Henry because the guys. I mean, I'm perfectly comfortable in my masculinity, but Henry's a fucking.
Oh no, yeah, Henry's,
yeah, he's
for sure.
The dude's an Adonis. I don't care what you
Henry
say.
can catch it.
He's gorgeous. But what are you gonna do? You know, and he can act too. So
yeah,
he's like a double threat. But yeah, I love Henry a lot. But we'll see Henry in other things. I mean, yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe this kid will be able to carry half the torch that Henry carried, but we'll see.
I mean, he's not a kid. I mean, he's younger than Chris Hemsworth. He's the younger brother of Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, good Lord.
He's no Henry. Whatever. I don't even know what he looks like, but he's no Henry. So there.
Yeah, he looks like Chris Hemsworth, only with dark hair.
That's nice. They're both, yeah, I guess. Okay. Yennefer's just like, I'm not getting a bit with that. That's not Henry.
I think Yennefer's DTF, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. So casting for Yennefer was brilliant. Yeah. And Ciri. I like Ciri a lot too. I think she's cute as a button.
No doubt.
Yep.
No diggity.
Said the person who's never read the novels or played the game, but whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a matter of convenience.
As usual, my head's so far up my ass I could see out my mouth. Tap. What do you have?
So this was a graphic novel under Humanoid's Life Drawn imprint, more or less. It's kind of an autobiographical to a degree. There some enhancements. It's called Total Suplex of the Heart. It's by Joanne Starr and Ornella Greco, and I was I like the art a lot, but it didn't dawn on me really until I neared the end of the story that our lead in the story is, for all intents and purposes, the author of the story. And Joanne, if anybody's familiar with the name, she's written Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville for DC. She's written Sirens of the City that Carrie Randolph illustrated. Did some Poison Ivy. Been around a few places, a few publishers, working mostly at DC for a few things like Harley Quinn, things like that. But this, I believe, came out in, I want to say, 2019-ish. Actually, no, sorry. The copy I have is from 2024. So basically we are introduced to Georgie, and she is she's she's a writer, kind of like one of the comic based review websites, and she's trying to find find a gimmick, find a hook that could get people interested in reading the story she wants to write. And turns out that she she wants to do a like a human interest piece on a local wrestling promotion. And so she meets Donnie, who's a promoter of Jersey hardcore wrestling, and she gets introduced to some of the workers. And there's there's the stereotypical black voodoo guy. There's this guy Christopher Street who wears a pride flag as a cape, and his gimmick, his character, is that he's gay. And when he's introduced to Georgie, and he's talking about how beautiful she is, and how she's got a great body, and and he he starts manhandling her breasts, because he's like, "Oh, these can't be real." And she's like, "Oh, no, no, they're totally real. They're all mine." And she's cool with it because hey, he's gay. So when Christopher leaves, Cassidy comes over, know that she's one of the women wrestlers, and she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "You really shouldn't let him touch you like that." And George's like, "Oh, no, no, it's fine. He's," and she's like, "No, he's not. He's not. That's the
A little
gimmick.
Jack Tripper situation going on.
Yeah. So, so we there's this dude Trevor who's just like a total prick, who's arrogant, great body, and that's Georgie seems to be. She's very physical with her. Everything's visual. She if doesn't matter if they're a good person or not. If she likes the way they look, she wants to bang them. So she's got a thing for Trevor, even though he's obviously bad news. She meets this guy Stevie, who's just like an unassuming dude. He has manners. He's kind of perfect. He says the right things. He's sweet. He's a young dude, and he owns his own home because he knows wrestling's going to take a toll on your body, and I want to make sure that I'm not hurting in the years to come, and I'm not scrambling to find a place to live or lose all my money just renting places. So he's got his own home, which is attractive. And when Georgie also has some body issues. She does not. She's not happy with her body. Uh, there's there's anorexia hinted at, and eventually, Georgie and Stevie hook up. Uh, Stevie has OCD. She ends up kind of changing herself to placate him, and because she doesn't want to derail him and just have his life go in disarray. So she moves to be closer to him, and she kind of just rearranges her life, and she's in a good place. And Stevie is running his own promotion, so Georgie wants to help him out and do the flyers and everything like that, and do the promotions, and they find a building that they can renovate, turn into a wrestling school. So everything's great. And then Georgie has the idea of running a women's promotion, and not necessarily part of Stevie's gig, but just using the gym when he doesn't have any shows scheduled, and eventually maybe introduce some of the women, have some of them have matches on his shows, so this way it gets more eyes on the product, things like that. So I mean, they seem to be in a good place. So then she finally says, let's bring Cassidy in, because she and Cassidy had a little bit of a falling out, because Cassidy also had a thing for Stevie for a while, and Georgie kind of feels bad because obviously now with she being with Stevie, she kind of fell out with Cassidy. She reaches out to Cassidy, says, "Hey, listen, I'm starting to do my I want to run my own shows. Love for you to show up." And that's when things get a little dicey, and as we near the end of the tale. But overall, I thought and I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not trying to give anything away. I think the art is quite fitting for this. It's not a gory or very realistically drawn book. It's a there's even this dude Roach who is friends with Stevie, and again he's a tall, good looking dude, muscular. Cassidy catches some feelings, but she's not trying to act on him because of her. She wants to. She's with Stevie, and she doesn't want to do anything to destroy that. But again, we just see that there are distractions, and there are things that entice Georgie a little bit. One part that completely floored me is their it's about 2 months before the big show with the women basically doing a whole women's show, except Stevie wants one of his young rookies that he's training from the wrestling school to be in a match with a woman, and then he keeps trying to like force her that we'll have him go over, and it's just like it's a woman's show. Like why is the one dude on the show? And so she's trying not to make waves, and so they're working on the show, and while he's running down the card and planning the promotion and the marketing materials and everything like that, she decides to go clean his place up. She's doing all the cleaning and everything. She gets into she starts scrubbing the toilet, and she starts thinking about Roach, and she's like talking to herself, and he while she's scrubbing the toilet, some water splashes out onto the floor, and that's when Stevie walks in, and he's like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And she's just, she's trying not to let it be known that she's thinking about anybody else. But while she's doing that, of course, she's got the toilet scrubber, and she's going to town on it and splashing about, making a little bit more of a mess. And Stevie's like, "Yeah, look at the mess you're making." And she's like, "Oh no, it's fine. I'll get something to clean it up." And before she can get up, he fucking slaps her, just like open hand slap. And that was it. He comes in and he's apologizing. They even he even kind of does the whole makeup sex routine, and she's a million miles away. And apparently, this was the first time that they had sex in about 6 months. So she's just got a whole bunch of shit going through her head, and it was it was a hell of a ride up to this point. But after this, obviously, attitudes turn on Stevie. Well, at least me as a reader did. But seeing the show be successful that she had promoted and had planned, and then the way it ends was a bit of a punch. But as Starr writes at the end, the way the story ends in the book is slightly different than how it happened for her in real life. But there was I was just really pleasantly surprised with it. I flipped through it when I first got it and put it down and then found it and completely had forgotten about it. So I just started over from the beginning, and it's pretty. It's quick readish. It's a quickish read, but it's the characters are great. I mean, if you are a wrestling fan, there are things in here that definitely resonate. It all makes sense, the way things play out, the way some of the characters behave, the way some of the gimmicks work. So Starr obviously did her homework, knows her research. But yeah, I enjoyed it more than I thought it would, and the people you should be rooting for are quite apparent. There are a couple people that you should avoid, but I mean, there are a couple people who were just not exactly how they appear to be at first glance. So there really aren't too many one note, one dimensional, same generic characters throughout the book. Everybody is, and you've got it's a very diverse cast in this book. All mixed models, all different, all different sexual orientations. It's a pretty well rounded book. But yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I've read a couple things from Star, so I do like her work. But this was and again I completely, even though it's under the Life Drawn imprint and everything was right here telling me that it's kind of it's somewhat autobiographical. I pretty much completely missed all of that until the very end. But I think folks should check it out.
Love it. Yeah, you Patrick Brower of Challengers fame in Chicago was talking about this book a few weeks ago.
Sweet.
But I remember making, and I was like, I'm like, it sounds kind of lit, because he's a huge, as you may remember, he's a huge wrestling fan. So he was big in this book up. But yeah, okay, cool. Sounds good. Yeah. I've been known to enjoy the graps every now and then.
A little bit, yeah. Some.
Yeah, a little 2-3. Yeah. Nice. Vince, are you familiar with Mr. John Muir?
Why is that name familiar?
Seriously.
I'm about to tell you. Because John Muir is otherwise known as John of the Mountains, and he's also most notably known as Father of the National Parks. He is the co-founder of the Sierra Club.
Nice.
And he's the man responsible for getting both Yosemite and Sequoia National Parks created. Why am I bringing up John Muir? Well, because our fantastic friends at NBM just released the English adaptation of John Muir to the Heart of Solitude. It's written and drawn by a French cartoonist who goes by Lomig, Olmig. And as far as I can tell, because I tried to look into it, I believe this is his first comic work. I could be totally wrong there, because obviously it's a little hard when you're dealing with foreign creators. But I really do think this is his first work, as far as I can tell. But it is an absolutely beautiful graphic novel adaptation of John Muir's life. And it is, I knew of the name, I knew he was involved with our national parks, but I didn't know much about him. And what a fascinating story. And the book is it's a true adaptation. There's no there's no embellishment as far as I can tell. So Muir was born in Scotland, and he and his family immigrated to the U.S. in the 1840s. They moved to Wisconsin, which was at the time was the newest state. And they were dirt poor, they basically moved with nothing and they were farmers, and they just were dirt poor. And he was he grew up a pretty tough household. His dad was pretty tough on him and whatnot. And he couldn't go to school because he had to work the farm. So he ends up working at a mill, doing factory work, because he actually had sort of a preternatural, he was just good at making machines and fixing machinery. He had this natural ability to do so, even though he wasn't formally educated. So he was working at a mill, and he suffered an accident that blinded him. And so he's convalescing at a hospital for a few months while they're hoping to see if his sight comes back. And he has a bit of a epiphany at 28 years old, where he just realizes that as a kid he always loved botany and the study of plant life and wilderness. It just was always his passion. But life, took him away from that, and that life's too short, and he was just if he ever got his sight back, he was going to spend the rest of his life as a naturalist and chronicling life on Earth, basically. And that's exactly what happens. He gets his sight back, full sight, I think, in his left eye, and then he gets half sight back in his right eye, but enough, he can see well enough to function. And he does exactly as he promised himself he would. He just starts going on essentially walkabout, Niesman style. He goes on a 1,000-mile trek from Kentucky to Florida and chronicles his findings. He meets people along the way, but he's writing about he's collecting samples. He's penciling and drawing in books what he sees. He's writing everything down, and over this time, he collects all this information, and he goes on to write dozens of books about botany and forestry and natural lifestyles and the like. And this book chronicles everything from his injury to his 1,000-mile journey to then after that he goes on a trip to Cuba. He goes to a trip to New York City. And then eventually he's hired by the U.S. government, a group of surveyors and like museum archivists. They are set about trying to explore the western part of the U.S. in the mid 1800s, and he is hired by them to be their guide. And he goes all across the Nevada and Utah and the Pacific Northwest and Northern California, and he chronicles all these places about the plant life, the animal life. How they interact with one another, the delicate ecosystems, and he pretty much becomes like the foremost authority on all this stuff, and then makes his life work from there to educate people and to again create preservation of all of this. But the latter parts of like the creating of the parks and the preservation really aren't touched on in the book so much. I mean, there's an afterword about it, so this really does pretty much chronicle him from his 28 when he's 28 and blind to when he finishes up his trip in Nevada and Utah with the government surveyors. So I'm guessing it's probably like a 10-year window, give or take. But it's just an amazing book, man, and it's Lomig does a phenomenal job of rendering these true natural wonders. These gigantic open spaces with some mountains and deserts and dense forests, and he just does tons of cross hatching and tons of really detailed work when it comes to drawing like the plant life or the animal life. It looks so realistic. But then his character work is much more cartoonish and much more simplistic, which I think works for the story. And I just thought it was just a nice, a little treasure of a book that I kudos to NBM. They don't put out a ton of graphic novels, but when they do, I feel like they always hit. And this is another winner. So if people are all interested in autobiocomics, this is definitely a great one. Once again, it's John Muir, To the Heart of Solitude, published by NBM. So, really, really terrific.
I think I'm locked into this one.
Nice.
Yeah,
cool.
Maybe you won't make fun of my foraging for mushrooms, but whatever. I think the work is very delicate.
Oh, yeah.
The panels are extremely delicate, and it looks really good to my eyes.
I mean, this guy is just like, there are people that love to be out in the wilderness, but this dude, like, he walked the walk, man. Like, literally. Like, he just fucking loves to be outside, man. And, like, he just finds everything about it beautiful, from, like, the worms to the dirt to the lichen. It just mesmerized him his whole life. And kudos to him for following his passion. We should all be so lucky, right?
Well, he certainly cast a long shadow because he must have had some kind of impact on his people, because they don't fuck around at the national parks. They're good people.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah. I just have 3 words. 3 simple words. But, wow, dude, it just spirals out into a complex, beautiful book. Absolute Martian Manhunter. Woo! This book is too good. It's almost too good.
It's really good, dude.
It is.
It's crazy.
Like, I finish an issue, I go back and start it again, and I'm like, why is this book so freaking good? Well, we can tell why it's good, because it has a powerhouse creative team in Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez. But if you are going to quote Einstein's spooky action, like, shut up, just tear my heart out, lick it, and put it back in, because this book is just phenomenally good. And it's kind of hard to convey why it's so good to people who haven't read it. You could say why we think it's good. Like, conceptually, there's a number of visual things that are employed in which the soul is represented in color and flowing text. But you cannot grasp the magnitude of this book until you actually experience it. Each panel in sequence, that's sequential art. I don't, in like 10 years, we're going to look back and say, holy shit, that Martian Manhunter, we're still feeling the ripples of that book. And am I wrong? I don't think I'm overselling this. I don't. I really don't.
It's dumb. It's dumb how good this book is.
It's really scary. It's scary because
Rodriguez is a fucking beast. I've always said that about him, but
Yeah.
like this is ridiculous, dude. Like the way he's exhibiting the alien interaction and the sensing of people's thoughts and the sense it's the use of these colors and having it flow like wet paint all across. It is just
Stupid.
a masterstroke of storytelling. And again, we say this a lot, but like this is why comics are great, because you could not do this in any other medium.
Guaranteed.
It would not. Even in today's world of CGI and special effects, you could do something that's supposed to be like it, but it would not be as evocative.
No.
It would not be as evocative.
Because you have to combine the flowing text and the undulating colors that come from the people and the shifting perspectives. And it's like, yes, you could maybe approximate that with a camera, but how are you going to do the text thing? Where it's part and parcel, the text has to be overlaid on the color, which conforms to the shape, and it's like so good. I can't. They're so far ahead of everybody else right now. It's just stupid. Why? Where did this book come from? Like, and we were all just like, all right, this fucking absolute Wonder Woman is just the shit. Yeah, well, whatever comes later, maybe we'll check them out. And I said it. I said this Martian Manhunter looks good, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be a decent read. But it's so it is an atomic bomb. Just I hope other people look at this book, like creators within the industry, and they're like, let's try for that. Because if this raises the bar in the industry, just not just among the absolute books, but like the average run-of-the-mill books. I'm not going to name any names, but just like, what if somebody at the other company looks at this and like, man, look what they're doing with this Martian Manhunter. This is better than anything we're publishing. And it's nestled within this absolute imprint where, yeah, hopefully it's finding an audience, but we don't know. Like, we don't see the numbers. It is just, I can't. It's just so much better than almost everything out there that it's really scary to see something like this unfold and to witness it and to be there with each issue. And you look at it and it's just like, this is an absolute, pun intended, masterpiece. How is this thing possible? Where did this come from? Stop. It's
you ain't
just,
wrong. Stop.
No, it's almost too good. There's euphoria that comes with really good art. Like, it pulls you in and wraps you in this narrative and visual blanket, and you're just totally consumed by it. The good books, the really, really good books do that. But this book is a cut above. Like, there's something going on. There's a really strange magic to this book, and I don't want it to ever stop. But it's going to. They can't continue. No, seriously, we're selfish, right? They can't continue this kind of. I mean, the creative team, maybe they'll do an arc and go away for a little while and then come back and do another arc. But I think this book is really special. I don't want to. It has me at a loss of words. Just, and it should, right? A really good visual art should have you at a loss of words, because you can never approximate what this book is doing. The combination of words and pictures and color. How can you approximate that in words? You can say this happens and then this happens, but there's part of language that just goes, see ya. In encapsulating what this issue does. It plays with time, it plays with consciousness, it plays with character. It's insane. It's just insane. That's all I can say.
You are 100% right, dude. Like,
yeah.
And again, I don't want to flip this to the negative, but I read a comic like this and I think, see, like, this is why we front and perpetrate on y'all, because the people in your contemporaries in this current environment for these companies are making comics like this, So why can't the rest of you step up? Like
yeah, I don't think that's entirely fair. Right?
I know.
That's
I
like
know it's
asking
not.
everybody when Dark
I
Knight
know it's
Returns
not.
came out, like, why can't y'all do this?
I agree.
Because
I agree,
it's lightning
but
in a bottle. Like, it doesn't happen every day. If true passionate creation happened at a whim, like, everybody be doing it. It's so, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
what's the recipe for this book? How does it, what happened behind the scenes where DC just took the chain off Dennis Camp? Cause I don't remember Dennis Camp being this fucking good. I don't care what y'all say. Like, he's a good writer, but this is like stupid good. I don't know. Did he try mushrooms? Who knows? We don't know. But there's just, it's one of those born again combinations where it's the perfect writer with the perfect artist creating something that cannot be done without the entirety of the creative team. There's just something that's clicking with this creative team that it's like really good sex. It's magic that you cannot get. You remove one from the equation, falls apart. We're never going to see this again. Whenever. It's not going to happen. This is going to be a book where it's just like, remember that? That was so good. Why can't they do that all the time? Because they can't. because they just can't.
yeah. It's true. I should just treasure it when we get it.
Right.
Not, yeah.
But we're greedy
Love them
bastards.
lost.
Yeah, we're greedy bastards. We want, like,
Yep.
you want to hold this up as like, see, you can do this. Look at this. It happened. And to have absolute Wonder Woman and absolute Martian Manhunter, and to a lesser extent, absolute Flash and Batman happening at the same time is really ridiculous. Like, DC should be lauded for what they're doing here. Like, they're flipping the script, they're taking chances, they're trying. Yes, they're superhero books, but they're trying them in different ways. They're risky endeavors, but they're working, right? It's working.
Absolutely agree.
Yep. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, we don't do the awards that way anymore, but it would be certainly on the short list for favorite superhero book of the year.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gonna. I mean, usually I go to Savage Dragon because there really wasn't a contender before.
Right.
Like, how do you ignore this?
Mm-hmm.
It's breaking the medium and putting it back in wonderfully new arrangements. Like,
yes.
Obviously, if you're not reading Absolute Martian Manhunter, like, just go get the issues. There have been 2 to date.
Yeah, I'm even a comic fan.
Yeah, I don't really think you have to be. Like, this would appeal to Fringe and paranormal and there's a conspiracy theorist in this issue. So if you're one of them, maybe you'll identify one of the characters in there. I hope you don't, but if you do, maybe yikes. It's the coloring, the line work, the writing, the dialogue. It's just
The layouts.
everything. It's stupid.
The image with him, like, taller than the buildings, and it's just, oh my God.
It's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could thank Will Eisner
we're-
for that. Yeah,
Sure. And we're starting to understand it more too, right? Because we knew since it's absolute, it would be, it would be different than like, that's the conceit of all these, and we're realizing this is more of like a symbiotic thing. Like, the alien is in him, but it's like, it's not like he's obviously the original John Johns is just a shape-shifting Martian who takes on the form of a human and hides in plain sight. But this, it's more that the guy was human and has, now has an alien with some kind of symbiotic relationship. And
but Martian, Martian, not Martian. Like, Martian in a sense that y'all equate aliens with these little green men, so that's the form I'm going to take. But I'm not really I'm not really a Martian. And then there's the threat looming of the white Martian.
The white Martian,
that we haven't seen yet. It's like, what? Mm-hmm. You gave us 2 pitch perfect issues and we haven't even seen the main threat yet? Like, I don't care. Keep dragging this shit out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't, whatever. And I'm not one to say that, because I'll be like, all right, let's get this Wolverine stuff wrapped up. Tell us who he is, where he's from, how he got the claws, like all that stuff. But now I'm just like, you don't have to hurry. Just take your time. because this is really good comics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We love you people so much that we want to tell you where to get the cheapest, the lowest priced OGNs, graphic novels, TPBs, artist editions, omnibus editions, all that stuff. Manga. Where do you go? Well, we've said it at the beginning of the episode. Cheapgraphicnovels.com have all that stuff. Sale, specials, free shipping on your second order if you're a first-time customer, all that stuff. If you listen to this, wherever you, well, obviously you're listening to it, but wherever you listen to it, please leave us a review. Whether it's just a star system or you have to actually write some words, we would greatly appreciate that. We would also really love it if you check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. You know, it's the hook is the dedicated Slack channel because that's where everybody communes. I got to thank my brother Ray for hooking me up with some challenging sounds. And with TV, movie, music, comics, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Shelf porn, toys, like all that stuff. There's a channel for each and every one of those things and a whole lot more. Patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. Speaking of our extended EOC family, in your travels, I want you to read this because, man, this is a tonic for your soul. In troubled times, I had at least 3 laugh out loud moments while reading this issue. And it was created by a member of the EOC family, Cameron Hathaway. This is Fugu Comics number 4. If you want to get it, you just go to Cammy'sComicCorner.com/comics with an X. You can find Mr. Cameron Hathaway at Cam Comic Corner and at Cluster FUX Comics with an X. There's a number of characters that get the spotlight in this issue, not the least of which is Mr. Cameron Hathaway himself, who laments the fact that he can't draw well. And I got to wiggle my finger at you, Cameron, because the joy of Fugu Comics is the fact that you don't approach it from the traditional realism-based bullshit that everybody imparts upon art. You know, when you're in high school, it's like, oh, Jimmy's a really great drawer. He's awesome. What are they saying? Jimmy can draw a realistic truck. Well, Mr. Hathaway isn't exactly based in realism, and he's all the better for it because it's easy to draw realistic. It's very, very difficult to do what he does here, which is distilling shit down to its barest hysterical essence. There's a story in which something, I won't say because I think you should read it for yourself, an organism dies in 2016. And when this organism dies, it splits the timeline into a dark timeline where Trump wins the presidency twice. A shitty comic anthology is started by a deranged individual who has no business editing an anthology. David Bowie, Bob Saget, Prince, Anthony Bourdain, Paul Rubens, Norm Macdonald, Tom Petty, et al. Die. Russia invades Ukraine, and a pandemic sweeps the world, killing millions just because this organism dies. And the Fugu goes back in time to right this wrong. But that's not all. There's also a strip featuring my favorite character that Cameron has ever created, Lord Buttonchops. And if you're not familiar with Lord Buttonchops, he has an ass for a face. And when he speaks, he farts. So characters will talk to Lord Buttonchops, and his response is, see what I mean? Like, I laughed out loud multiple times reading this issue. There's a Paul Rubens cameo that I think is absolutely brilliant. There's a DJ Rodney who is stuck in the 90s and just spouts all 90s related dialogue. Hit Me Baby One More Time, Oops, I Did It Again. Yeah, and he's into S&M. And he has an MTV tattoo on his tramp stamp. So just go get this. Fugu Comics, number 4. It's $5. Cameron Hathaway. You won't have this much fun reading many other comics. I guarantee it. And I'll tell you it again. It's Cammy's comiccorner.com/comics. Really, go get this. It comes with a sticker. I love friggin' stickers. I put the sticker on my flat files already. So every day I will look at Cameron's work because I love it. Thank you, Cameron, for creating this. You you made me laugh, dude. You're so stupid, but it made me laugh like out loud. It's so good. In case you don't know, fugu is a puffer fish. They're unless you cook them right, they'll kill you if you eat them.
Yes.
They're deadly. And the fugu is not only the name of the book, but it's a character within the book, and it's a beautifully designed, very cute little puffer fish. And he helps out. He tries to help out humanity here. Go get it.
Yes. Go get it. Thank you, Cameron. Let's be quick. The 5th and final issue of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. The story wraps up pretty much how you'd expect, because obviously this is the kind of takes place right before it kind of takes place between the first and second episode of the animated series. So there isn't a lot of drama or worry about what's going to happen by the end of the book. But considering where our hero was at the end of the previous issue, and getting thrown off the building when facing Silvermane and the Enforcers, Spider-Man does overcome those odds, quite triumphantly so, and faces Silvermane again. And then all of this because he and Nico were trying to save Midtown High. And there's a great scene where a couple of panels where, because of the fight with the Enforcers, Peter's got a black eye, he's got some scrapes on his face. So he comes home, and he's got a stack of books in front of him, and as soon as May says, "Oh, I was about to text you, find out where you were," he comes into the house and he trips, dropping all the books basically in front of his face, and as if these books are going to give him the black eye and the scrapes. But May tends to him. They sit down and watch some TV. The next day, he and Nico go back to Rockford T. Bales High, where that's when he sees Pearl, who's a character in the cartoon, who used to babysit Pete. She's just a little older than Peter, and Nico seems to be pretty smitten with Pearl, although she wants to play Pete's wing woman and make sure that he has a chance with Pearl. So she's trying to kind of freshen up his game a little bit so that he doesn't. She says we got to work on that line between flirty, shy, and just being plain annoying. So the series, like I said, ends on a high note. Spider-Man, of course, saves the day with some dude trying to mug a hot dog cart vendor, and Spidey swoops down, gets the guy, webs him up, and the vendor's like, "Hey man, thanks. I'll you want a hot dog on the house?" And Spider-Man's like, "Yeah, sure, but now that you mention it, I'm pretty hungry, but any chance I can get cheese and relish on that?" And the vendor's like, "Yeah, don't push your kid. I could have taken that kid out myself." So he's still not getting any respect, but at least he got free food. And then he just swings away. It was quite an entertaining little tale. Again, still written by Christos Gage, art by Eric Gapster, colors by Jim Campbell. And if you have been enjoying the animated series, I think you'll enjoy this limited series just as well. So yeah, in your travels, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Nice. Remember 2 weeks ago I mentioned that I got received in the mail 3 copies of a book. I assumed were one for each of us, but I did not. There was no note involved. Well, fortunately, I know the answer to the mystery. So the book in question is called Botanica Drama. It's written and drawn by an artist who goes by the name Tom, Thom, and just a single name. Don't know if he's Brazilian or what. But it's a special thanks to a longtime friend of the show, Juan Manuel. Juan is Canadian, and he, I believe, lives in Quebec, and this is a Quebecy cartoonist that he's a fan of, and he thought we would all really enjoy the book, so he sent 3 copies. So I'm not going to go deep, which is why I saved it for New Travels, because obviously you guys can't read it until I see you, and who knows when that's going to be. But I did have a chance to read it, and it was delightful. I'm just going to read the opening solicit here. After rising day after day for billions of years, the sun, recovering from a bit too much celestial partying the night before, makes a fateful decision to stay in bed. With the earth plunged into darkness, everyone from Philomene the flower to death itself faced dire consequences, trapped in an everlasting winter and surrounded by mysterious creatures that have emerged from the shadows. Can anything make the sun shine again? It was fun. Look at me, Vince, another fantasy comic to talk about in the same episode. What is happening? But I will say that it is unheard of. But the really cool thing about this is the art style. So it is very cartoony style, like animated strip style. It reminded me a lot of Louis Trondheim's Dungeon.
Wow! Get out of town.
Yeah, I know that was going to pique your interest, but I really do think that the illustration style is very evocative of Trondheim. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom wasn't a Trondheim, didn't consider Trondheim a big inspiration. But it worked. The book was funny. It was silly. It was just well done, man. It was really great. And props to Juan for finding a book that none of us have read that I think we're all going to end up enjoying. So thanks very much. I will definitely have these copies for my booze when I see them next. And but I didn't want to wait until then to acknowledge it. So thank you for that. So other people, if you want to check out a fun, like more of a comedic fantasy comic, check out Botanica Drama. Yeah, it's great stuff. And one other thing, not comics related, but comics adjacent. My son and my youngest son and I are enjoying the ever-loving hell out of Solo Leveling on Netflix. The second season has just recently dropped. So we watched the first season, and now we're in the second season. It is a blast. It is. I've heard some people refer to it as an anime adaptation of a manga. That's actually not accurate. It's a South Korean comic that was largely web. It was a web comic produced in South Korea from 2016 to 2018, and then he's got a sequel going that started last year. But it's fun stuff, man. It's a lot of fun. The art, the animation on the Netflix show is top notch. It's crazy action packed and pretty badass. So if you are a fan of JRPGs, you will love this, because the whole premise is that in this world there are people have different level of magical ability, but like whatever level you're born into is like a caste system. That's your level. So there are people with like very minor abilities, and then people that have like godlike abilities. And then there are these dungeons that manifest, and basically like the dungeons are graded. So like if it's a C dungeon, you better be at least a C level hero to go in there. You're going to get your ass whooped. And that's just the way this world works. But then our protagonist, Jin Woo, who is an E class or an F class maybe, he's like the lowest level. He's barely viable to even go into the dungeons. But on one of his first ever adventures, he gets basically nearly killed, and a group basically takes him and soups him up, and he becomes the only one of these heroes. And there's there's tons of them in this world that can level up, hence the solo leveling. And he levels up, and it's basically just like an RPG. Like as he kills things, he gets their loot, he gets their powers, he gets upgrades to his powers. It's just a lot of fun. Really enjoying that. So check that out if you're into the anime.
Nice. Two things. First, remember that little game that you suggested this afternoon? Yes. I think Trondheim would be one of my choices.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. And 2, solo leveling has been recommended to me by a number of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you don't like it?
Don't like the visuals. No.
The TV show?
Yeah. I'm not crazy about the way it looks. I'm not crazy about the way it looks. Whatever. Wow. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Shocked.
It's too real.
Oh, hey. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not saying it's bad. It doesn't. It's not the kind of anime that I would watch.
Got it.
Yeah, but whatever. Who cares? Hey, everybody, we thank you for listening to this. We do so much, and we hope you come back next time because there'll be more of the same. Get yourself to a comic shop. You know how it works. It doesn't matter if it's online or brick and mortar. Just order something, buy something, read it, love it, talk about it online, and come back here. And who knows? Maybe we'll be talking about it, and you can join in on the fun. In the meantime, say good night. Do I tell you who this is? I don't think so. Do I? David. It's one of the greatest songs ever recorded. Tell me who it is. Tell me who it is. Oh my God, you don't know.
Not from that, no.
Oh boy. Jason, you don't know?
David.
Nice. You don't know who that is? He's going to listen to it. He's putting it in the Shazam. It's Pixies.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
How early Pixies?
Trompe le Monde. So it's 89, maybe more?
Oh,
90.
hell.
No, what am I saying? 91, maybe?
That late, really?
Yeah. Well, it's not late. But this is like
Well,
the song's called UMass. It's one of the greatest songs ever. It's so good. I would take a bullet for Frank Black. Seriously. I would take a bullet for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, we were driving all around Manhattan trying to find parking for New York Comic Con last year. You were educating me on the Pixies.
Were we? Really?
Yes.
Yes.
No, you never.
Because Orange Cassidy comes out to Where Is My Mind, and I mentioned.
Yeah, we talked all about Kim Deal and his relationship, and
yeah,
right, yeah.
I love hate. Where's My Mind? I love hate it. It's a beautiful, brilliant, amazing song, but they use it in so many fucking things that it's just like stop.
Yeah, and you said you don't blame Kim Deal for leaving Frank because he's a pain in the ass.
He's a pain in the ass. He is. He's a pain in the ass. But he's brilliant. A lot of brilliant people are pain in the asses.
I mean, I'm talking to one right now.
I know. It's the truth. We love you so much. Yeah, tell them that. Tell them you love them.
Love you.
Love y'all.
Wait, were you talking about you being a pain in the ass or me being?
No, you.
Oh, well, that's not entirely true. No, I was talking about you. I mean, I'm brilliant, but I'm not a pain in the ass.
That's it for that one.